Hi everyone, very good evening and welcome back to CrackGradeB. So in today's lecture we'll be talking about the capital investment decisions, right? We have to discuss that what are capital investment decisions and why they are important. This is a very crucial topic that is a very substantial part of your financial management lectures, right? So let's start talking about it. See, if I know what do we mean by capital investments. Capital investment means the kind of investments which are going to give me returns in the upcoming future. आगे आने वाले फ्यूचर में मुझे उस चीज का क्या है रिटर्न मिलने वाला है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई इन्वेस्ट इन द मशीनरी, right, that is a capital investment decision. We have constructed a factory building, that is a capital investment decision, right? We are constructing a bunch of machineries together, that is a capital investment decision. So anything and everything, by incurring the amount, if you are building something, an asset which is going to give you returns in the future and that is going to be there with you for a longer period of time, that is something we call as the capital investment, right? And obviously even if you go to buy a car, you think twice or thrice about, you see 10 options before purchasing anything. So while we will be doing certain things for our business, when we are doing the investments for our business, why can't we do that, right? हम ये भी कर सकते हैं that we can analyze the project from 10 angles. We can take the what you can say quotes from 10 vendors and after that we decide. Why do we do that? Because there is a huge investment that is made in the capital investments, right? There is a lot of amount, time as well as the effort which is involved in such kind of decisions, and that is why in this whole chapter we will be going to study that what are the different tools and procedures that we use to differentiate between the projects, to differentiate between the investment alternatives and which particular alternative we are going with, right? So these are the things. Let's start discussing the capital investment decisions, right? So investment decisions, they are concerned with optimum utilization of fund to maximize the wealth of the organization. Obviously, suppose if I have invested 10 lakh rupees and I am able to earn what you can say 50 lakh rupees by making an investment of 10 lakh, I am increasing the asset size of the firm, right? मैं asset size को बढ़ा रही हूँ and at the same time I am increasing the profitability of the firm as well. ठीक है, मैं profitability को भी बढ़ा रही हूँ, right? So the wealth of the organization, investment decisions, they are very crucial for the organization to fulfill the objectives. In fact, it generates revenue, ensure long-term existence, even though the entities which exist not for profit. See, there are entities who are existing, the NGOs or any other kind of organization which is here for the welfare purposes, right? Welfare purpose के लिए है, not for the profit thing. Even they do make the capital investments, right? They also make the capital investments, and for them as well such kind of decisions are very, very important. Now the next thing is, in financial management we also have a topic that is called as the financing decision, known as the cost of capital. So if I am raising the funds through equity or I am raising the funds through debentures, right, or through any other multiple options, for example bank loans etc., there is a cost involved. ठीक है, हर चीज में कॉस्ट होती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन आई स्टार्ट माय बिजनेस, व्हेन वी हैव रेड द सोर्सेज ऑफ फंड्स, either I'll have my own funds or I'll borrow my funds. The borrowed funds, though they also have some cost obviously, and the funds which are of my own, they do have opportunity cost. If I would have invested my own funds in some kind of deposit, I would have got an interest on it. ठीक है, मुझे उस पे इंटरेस्ट मिलता, but because I have put up my fund in this particular machinery, I do expect some returns out of it, right? So it is not like that your own funds are free from any kind of cost. That is not the case. Okay, so this is the next thing that we are going to read. Since each rupee of capital raised by an entity bears some cost, it becomes paramount important that each rupee which we have incurred, there should be a proper plan behind it. ठीक है, वैसा सारा पैसा जो हम खर्चा कर रहे हैं उसके पीछे एक proper plan होना चाहिए. A proper budgeting, it requires all the characteristics of budget, due to this feature investment decisions are popularly known as the capital budgeting as well. where we are preparing the budget that okay, initially what is the cost, what is the amount that we will need, okay, in mid of the investment process what is the amount we'll be needing, and at the terminal point of time when the project is going to end what will be the cash inflows or outflows. So when you plan each and everything regarding the decision, that is called as the capital budgeting or capital investment decision, that how am I going to invest my capital, कैसे मैं अपने capital को invest करूंगी. It requires proper planning and budgeting, that is why we are calling it as the capital budgeting. It involves following steps. Now let's see this. First of all, identification of the investment project that are strategic to business overall objective. Investment project means what are the alternatives I am having, right? Can I open a factory in Tamil Nadu, or I should open a factory in Rajasthan, right? So these are the two alternatives I have, the investment proposals I have, and then I have to see, I have to analyze these particular projects in terms of what are the revenue and the costs associated with it. इसके साथ में क्या revenue और cost जो है वो associated है. Number 1. Next is estimating and evaluating post-tax incremental cash flow, right? So we have to understand certain things. There is a difference between cash flow and profit, right? The term cash flow and the term profit. Cash flow is determined once you have calculated the profit, but the point differs, right? We are going to see how do we calculate the cash flows. That is something also we will be seeing. But if I have to analyze any particular project, how am I going to do that? So I will be trying to find out that okay, what is the return I am getting out of this particular project. मुझे कितना पैसा इसमें से मिल रहा है? What is my post-tax incremental cash flow? Okay, post-tax means after providing for the tax, what is the money that is coming into my pocket in form of cash, right? So that is what. Next is selection of investment proposal that maximizes the return for the investor. Equity shareholders, they have invested into my entity and they want the returns onto their investment, right? They are not here. They have 10 other avenues where they can invest, right? And their funds have got an opportunity cost. So I have to provide them something in return which is valuable for them, and so that they will remain invested into my business. अगर मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो मेरे business में पैसा लगाकर रखें, then obviously I have to tell them that okay, this is the project we are investing in and this is the amount we will be earning out of it. इसमें से हम इतना पैसा जो है वो earn करेंगे. Next we have the control and review. Obviously, see, if I am going to spend 50 crores on something, I will be having a very strict control over the expenses that have been made. What are the timings at which expenses have been made? Suppose if I have finalized that for the year of 2024, we have got a budget of 10 crores. That in this year, 10 crores will be spent. Now, if 15 crores have been spent, I have to keep an eye for that. ठीक है? मुझे उस पे ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. So this is something that is talked about in capital budgeting or the capital investment decisions. Now, capital budgeting is very, very important. Why it is important? Let's see the pointers for it. Number 1, you have to invest huge financial sources. It involves long-term commitment, hence it will impact any business for long term. Once I have purchased a particular machinery, that is going to remain with me into my business for a period of, let's say, 5 years or 10 years. Right? So I cannot take a decision just like that. I have to analyze it because my funds are stuck with it. This is going to impact my efficiency as well, right? So a lot of things are based on it. Next we have irreversible after upfront payments, contractual obligations, etc. This cannot be reversed. The decision once made, it cannot be taken back, and that is why it is very much required that whenever you are going to make a decision, you shall be making such decision on the basis of all the prudence that you have. Next is complexity in the assessment of future events. Right now I am assessing that this particular highway project is going to give us a toll earning of 100 crores every year, right? That is my assessment. But after the construction of this, we got to know that no, 100 crores is the overestimated figure, and actually we will not be able to recover that much. Just wait for a second. Yes. So this is these are all the factors because of which it is important. Now let's talk about the objectives or the purpose of capital budgeting, right? Number one, substantial investment. That's what we read right now. So investment decisions are related to fulfillment of long-term objectives as well as the existence of organization. Substantial capital investment is required, and based on size of capital and timing of cash flows, sources of finances are selected. Due to huge capital investments and associated cost, it is therefore necessary for the entity to make such decisions after a thorough study and the planning. This is what we studied just now. Next thing is long time period. So there is a commitment of long time. The capital budgeting decisions, they have its effect over a long time. They don't only affect your future benefits but also impact the with what rate and what will be the direction of your growth, right? So if you have to function with a, what you can say, with a future oriented, profitability oriented growth rate, you have to keep a watch over your capital investment decisions. Next we have irreversibility. Once you have made such kind of decisions, they are irreversible. Just wait for a second. Right. Next we have complex decisions. Let's see this. So the capital investment decision, they involve an assessment of future events, which in fact is difficult to predict. Just wait for a second. Yes. Okay, so capital investment decisions, they involve an assessment of the future events and which is difficult to predict. You do not know that what is going to be your sources of earning, right? What is the amount of source you will be able to get, and this is something which makes the capital investment decisions a complex one, right? Now next thing is we have types of capital budgeting decision. Let's see this. Number one, we have basis of firm's existence. So number one, you can have replacement decisions and modernization decision. Many of the times it happens that we are already using a particular level of technology, but because of the tech environment upgrades, ठीक है, आपका technological environment upgrade होता है, and because of which you have to upgrade with the technology, you have to bring new kind of machinery, right? Either you have to replace the existing machinery or you might have to modernize the machinery, right? So both the things, both the kind of situations can exist, and that is why it calls for a capital budgeting decision or capital investment decision. You try to see that, okay, what are the alternatives of machinery available for us, okay? Does it fulfill our rate of return criteria? Suppose if I am making 10 lakh rupees investment in something, I would like to earn 12% return onto it, right? That is my minimum rate of return. ठीक है, वो मेरा minimum rate of return है. So the replacement and modernization decision aims to improve operating efficiency and reduce cost. Generally, all types of plant and machinery, they require replacement, either because the economic life of the plant and machinery is over, or might be technology is outdated. For example, the desktop computers needs to be replaced with the laptops because that is the latest technology that provides you more convenience, right? So such kind of replacement related things can also be demanded for. The former decision is known as a replacement decision and later one is called as the modernization decisions. Both kind of decisions needs to be made by you. Now next is expansion. Now expansion means suppose I am already having a production capacity of 10,000 units. मेरे पास अभी already 10,000 units की production capacity है, but I can enhance that. ठीक है, I want to enhance that because I have got more demand from the customers. Customer से ज़्यादा demand है. I want to increase the capacity from 10,000 units to 20,000 units. Now for this expansion, I have to make a capital investment decision. So that is what your entity is already existing, right? They might need to make replacement or modernization decision, or they might need to make an expansion decision. Existing successful firms may experience growth in demands of their product line. If such firms they experience shortage or delay in the delivery of their products due to inadequate production facilities, they may consider the proposal to add the capacity in existing product lines, right? So such kind of things needs to be done. Next we have diversification, that is new product lines or market. Now this was related to the existing product line. I am making a particular product and now I want to increase its production. ठीक है, मैं उसका production अब बढ़ाना चाहती हूँ. So I will add it. Now let's talk about diversification, that is new product lines or market. नई product lines का मतलब क्या कि मान के चलिए I am making a product A. Now I am also witnessing that there is a demand of product B and C as well in the market. So what I am going to do? Every entity wants to grow, right? Nobody wants to remain static. So in such kind of cases, you need to make the investments in building premises, you need to make the investment in machineries, you need to make the investment in what you can say IT infrastructure. So there are a lot of investments which you need to make. These decisions, they require evaluation of proposals to diversify into new product lines, new markets for reducing the risk of failure by dealing in different products or by operating in several markets, right? So if you want to diversify, you can go for that. Next we have basis of decision situation. Now we have seen that what are the capital investment decision on the basis of firm's existence. Okay? The firm is already existing. They might need to replace a machinery. They might need to bring a new machinery. They might need to expand. They might need to introduce new products like that, right? So basis of decision situation. Let's talk about mutually exclusive decisions, right? That means you have got two options, okay? And if you choose one, the other one is going to be disregarded, right? So this is what we call as mutually exclusive decision, and this happens. For example, India was planning to purchase the fighter aircrafts, right? So they have multiple options. Now they can choose only one out of it. They cannot choose everybody, or they cannot do the combination of it, right? Combo cannot be done. You have to choose one proposal, and if you have chosen the one, the other stands disregarded. Okay, so this is mutually exclusive decision. Acceptance of one proposal will exclude acceptance of other alternatives, right? So the decisions are said to be mutually exclusive if two or more alternative proposals, they are such that acceptance of one proposal will exclude the acceptance of other alternative proposal. For instance, a firm may be considering proposal to install a semi-automatic or highly automatic machine. If the firm installs a semi-automatic one, so obviously the highly automatic machine's proposal will be disregarded. So in capital investment decisions, you have to make such kind of mutually exclusive decisions as well, where you will be accepting one and you will be rejecting the other. Next we have accept reject decisions. Okay, let's see this. So independent evaluation can compare with minimum return on required investments. The accept reject decisions, they occur when proposals are independent and they do not compete with each other. The firm may accept or reject a proposal on the basis of minimum return. That means I can make the investment on both the items, right? And I will not compare the item A with item B. No, I will not do the comparison. What I am going to do is I am going to see the features of item A, and on that basis I am going to accept or reject it. So over here there is no comparison which is being drawn onto the alternative proposals. हम कोई भी comparison नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are just doing the independent acceptance. Okay. So that is accept or reject decisions. Next we have the contingent decisions, that is dependable. This is dependable on one proposal may require further investment as well. आगे कभी कई बार ऐसा होता है ना that machineries they are suppose sometimes if you have purchased something then you have to consider a generator set for that as well, because that machine cannot go down, right? So that is why contingent decision means if you have made one decision then there might be few other decisions which will follow. ठीक है, जो other बाकी के decisions होंगे वो भी follow किए जा सकते हैं. So contingent decisions they are made when the proposals are dependable proposals. The investment in one proposal requires investment in one or more the other proposals as well. For example, if a company accepts a proposal to set up a factory in remote area, it will have to invest in infrastructure as well, like building of roads, houses for employees, etc., etc. Because otherwise employees will not be having the mechanisms to stay. Okay, you have chosen to establish a factory in remote area, so obviously you have to provide for the other aspects as well. आपको दूसरे aspects के लिए भी provide करना पड़ेगा. Now let's talk about the project cash flows. Okay, so only incremental cash flows they are considered, as timing of cash flows doesn't match accounting profits and investment decisions. They require initial investment. For example, suppose if my cash outflow is 10,000, this is the amount which I am incurring and I am earning 30,000. So what is my incremental cash flow? That is 20,000 rupees. This is my inflow, this is my outflow. वो मेरा inflow है, ये मेरा outflow है. So finally I have got incremental cash flow as 20,000 rupees. So only in project cash flows we are going to consider the cash flows are estimated on the basis of inputs which are provided by departments like the production, finance, marketing, etc. The project cash flow stream consists of cash outflows, that means what is going out of your pocket and what is coming in your pocket. आपकी पॉकेट में क्या आ रहा है और आपकी पॉकेट से बाहर क्या जा रहा है, that is cash inflow and cash outflow. The difference in these inflow and outflow in a particular year is considered as an incremental inflow, right, or the outflow which is going. So costs are denoted as cash outflows where the benefits are denoted as cash inflows. An investment decision implies the choice of an objective, an appraisal technique and the project's life. The objective and technique must be related to definite period of time. Life of project may be determined by taking into consideration the following factors: technological obsolescence, physical deterioration, decline in demand for the product. No matter how good a company's maintenance policy, tech or demand forecasting abilities, uncertainty will always be there. So whenever you are considering the life of project or the life of investments that you are going to make, you always have to consider that what is the technology related obsolescence, what you are planning, that in how many years you need to replace this particular technology. Physical deterioration, you also have to talk about decline in demand for the product. That means currently if I am making a particular product which is in trend, right, it might not always remain in the trend or that product might not be always demanded. For example, coal, right? Now coal is something which will not be demanded in upcoming future because yes, we do not have much of the alternatives for it. So that is why we are doing. But apart from that, the environment is such that coal usage of coal will be disregarded in the future. So whenever somebody is making the investment in any such kinds of coal related mines, they always consider such factors, that what are the negative perceptions attached with this particular work, right, and can we foresee that there is any decline in demand which might happen. So all such things are considered while you are planning that okay, we will be making the investment for 5 years, 4 years, 3 years or whatever the duration you are planning for. Now factors which needs to be considered when you will be talking about the project inflows. Number one is depreciation. Depreciation क्या होता है? Depreciation is a non-cash item. Now, when I'm considering a particular, when I have to decide about a project, I should always think about cash flow. And if very specifically I should say, I should only be thinking about the inflow. What is the incremental inflow I am getting? But please focus on the word cash. Depreciation is a tax deductible item which I deduct from my profit so that my taxation is lower, right? And I'm saving the depreciation for future investment. That is great. But actually, if you see, depreciation is something which I have not spent. मैंने खर्चा तो नहीं किया है depreciation वाला amount, right? I have actually not spent that particular amount. So depreciation is a non-cash item which should be added back in your profit after tax to know that what is the actual cash you have generated by investing in this particular project. मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि मैंने कितना पैसा कमाया इस प्रोजेक्ट में इन्वेस्ट करके, एंड हाउ एम आई गोइंग टू नो दैट? Profit after tax, add depreciation in it, and this is going to give you your cash inflow. ये आपको आपका क्या देगा? Cash inflow, right? However, we must consider tax shield or the benefit that we are getting from depreciation. Now, this benefit should not be neglected. See, if without depreciation, I was supposed to give 1 lakh rupee as my tax. Now, by charging the depreciation into my books of accounts, I have paid 30,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees as tax, right? So the difference, the 50,000 rupees which I had to, that I paid less to the income tax department is something which is my income, right? That is the something which is my benefit, जो मेरा benefit है, which I have not paid to the authorities. So tax shield or the depreciation shield or the benefit which is arising from the depreciation is something you should always consider, right? ये वैसी चीज है जो आपको हमेशा consider करनी चाहिए while you are making the investments. Next you have opportunity cost. Opportunity cost का मतलब क्या? That if I have a certain amount of fund, मेरे पास में एक certain amount of fund है, I have two alternatives where I can invest that money. I can invest in a certain machinery, I can invest that amount in deposits as well. मैं deposit भी कर सकती हूँ उस amount को. So if I am earning 8% on such deposits, then my minimum required rate of return from the machinery should be above 8%, because this is what I am already earning. ये तो मैं already कमा रही हूँ ना, तो जब मैं आपके पास invest कर रही हूँ, so this is the amount of return that I want to have. इतना मैं सच में कमाना चाहती हूँ. This is what called as opportunity cost. So while you are making the capital investment decisions, always consider your opportunity cost, that what was the next best alternative that you have foregone for making investment in this kind of setup, right? So opportunity cost is foregoing of a benefit due to choosing an alternative investment option. For example, if a company owns a piece of land acquired 10 years ago for 1 crore, it can be sold for 10 crore in today's value. Now, if the company uses this piece of land, then its sale value is 10 crore, forms a part of initial outlay. By using the land, company has foregone the 10 crore which could be earned by selling it, right? You are using the land for your business purposes, but that land, if it could have been sold, it would have given you 10 crore rupees. So that is an opportunity cost. You are using the land for your own purposes, that is not for free. Free में नहीं है, right? That has got a certain cost attached to it, okay? Next we have sunk cost. Sunk cost का मतलब क्या होता है? These are the decisions which have already been made and now you cannot reverse it, right? आप इसको reverse नहीं कर सकते. What is this? So sunk cost is an outlay of cash that has already been incurred in the past and cannot be reversed. Therefore, these costs do not have any impact on decision making. Hence, it should be excluded from capital budgeting analysis. For example, if a company has paid a sum of 1 lakh rupees for consultancy fees to a firm to prepare a project report. Now you have already paid the fees. आपने fees already pay कर दी है, and now you cannot recover it. आप वापस थोड़ी उसको recover कर सकते हो. So that is a sunk cost, and a sunk cost is something which is not very required for decision making for the upcoming future. Right? There is a very limited requirement or limited usefulness of the sunk cost that you have done. Okay, so then the consultancy fee which is paid is irrelevant and it is not considered for estimating the cash flows. So sunk cost is something which you should not consider while you are making the capital investment decisions, because these decisions have already been taken, these costs have already been incurred, and now you are not be getting anything out of it. Okay. Next we have working capital. Let's see this. So every big project requires working capital, because for every business investment in working capital is must. Therefore, while evaluating the project's initial working capital requirement should be treated as cash outflow, and at the end of the project its release should be treated as cash inflow. Okay, it is important to note that no depreciation is provided on working capital, though it might be possible that at the time of its release its value might have been reduced. So working capital is the amount which I use for the day-to-day purpose of my business, right? Day-to-day conduct. For example, the amount I invest in the machinery that has stuck, वो लॉक हो गया है, राइट, बट आई हैव 50 लाख रुपीज एक्स्ट्रा, ओके, दैट विल बी रिक्वायर्ड फॉर डे टू डे ऑपरेशंस, एंड वंस द ऑपरेशंस हैव एंडेड आई विल गेट माय वर्किंग कैपिटल बैक. ठीक है, मुझे मेरा वर्किंग कैपिटल जो है वो वापस मिल जाएगा. सो दिस इज व्हाट द कंसिडरेशन दैट व्हाइल यू आर ट्राइंग दैट. सपोज लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द कार्स, राइट. So suppose you have purchased a very premium brand car, right, and you have purchased what you can say an average car. So in both the cars you have got different level of maintenance cost, right. The associated costs are different for both the kinds of car. So that is the concept with working capital as well. The kind of investment decision you have done, capital investment decision, for example, the kind of machinery you have chosen for your business, जिस तरीके की मशीनरी आपने अपने बिजनेस के लिए चूज की है, you have to see that what are the associated costs with it, right? What is the amount that you will require to operate that machinery? कितना पैसा आपको उस मशीनरी को ऑपरेट करने के लिए चाहिए होगा? And once you will invest that money, yes, when the business is going to close or the machinery is going to become outdated, you will recover that cost. ठीक है, वो पैसा आपको वापस मिल जाएगा. So that is something that is also very, very crucial while making the capital investment decisions. Then we have allocated overheads. Allocated overheads, see, in our factory, we are paying factory rent as well. That is an indirect cost. Okay, we are paying the factory rent as well. So I will be allocating that factory overheads or my factory rent related cost over the products which I am making. Okay, जो products मैं बना रही हूँ उन पे मैं allocate करूँगी. So this is something we call as the allocated overheads, right? And this is something which is not very important or relevant for the capital investment decisions, because anyway factory rent will be incurred. ठीक है, factory rent तो हमेशा incur किया जाएगा. And while I am making capital investment decision, I should not consider the allocated overheads as much. So let's see this. As discussed in the subject of cost management accounting, allocated overheads may be charged on machine hours, labor hours, on some any other basis, right? For example, if I have 4 machineries into my premises, I can charge the overheads on the basis of floor area that has been occupied onto it, right? So if I am paying the factory rent, I will see that these are the 4 machineries, what is the space they are using, and I will be allocating the cost on the basis of that. मैं उसी basis पे cost को allocate कर दूंगी, right? Since the expenditures which are already incurred, they are also allocated to new proposals, they should be considered as cash flows, right? Now first let's read this. How do we calculate the cash flow, right? How do you calculate cash flows? Number 1, what is the sales you have done? Total sales of yours, less, deduct the variable cost out of it, that is the cost which changes with the level of production. Finally, deduct the fixed cost out of it, other fixed costs, and then depreciation. While calculating the cash flow, first you need to deduct the depreciation, because depreciation is a tax deductible item, and when we will be charging the tax, we need to know that what is the exact amount of profit. हमें जानना है कि exact amount of profit क्या है, right? So I deducted fixed cash cost, I deducted depreciation, and I got earning before tax, that is EBT. Now I will be deducting the tax which I am going to pay to the authorities. Once I got to know the tax, this is my earning after tax. You can also say this profit after tax. You know this. Now you will add the depreciation onto this and you will get the cash inflow. So profit after tax is a good concept, but we need to know that what is the cash we have earned. ठीक है, हमने कितना cash earn किया है by actually cash. So that is why we have added back the non-cash item, that is depreciation, in order to know the cash inflow which has been generated out of that investment, right? So this is the calculation of cash flow. Now, very briefly, stages of cash flow. See, when you start investing into a project, these are the stages. Number one, initial cash flows. So you have to make an initial investment. You have to purchase the machinery. You have to install the machinery. Then you have to invest in working capital. That means you have to provide 10 lakh rupees to run the machinery, right? Otherwise, how you are going to operate the machinery? Number one, you have got the cost for purchasing it. Number two, you have the cost to operate it, right? Then sale proceeds of old assets. This is the inflow you will get. So my old asset or my old machinery, I will sell it. Okay. Then interim. Meanwhile, the machinery is operating for you and you will be earning cash flow out of it. आपको उससे cash flow मिलेगा. Any additional working capital might be required. So sometimes you will feel like that no, 10 lakhs is not enough. We need to invest 20 lakh rupees, right? So that kind of thing might also be required. Okay. Next, terminal year cash flow. Terminal year means at the end of the year, you will sell the asset and you will get the salvage value of it, right? So once you sell the asset which has completed its life, you will get it. Release of working capital, the amount I have invested initially to run the machinery, now I will get that particular amount back, right? And for that year, whatever is my cash inflow. So this is what the stream of cash flow is. Earlier you will invest the fund, earlier you will invest the funds in working capital, then you will earn money out of it, right? At the end you will get the salvage value. So all these factors, they are pointing towards the project cash flow. We will be doing only this much today and we will come up with the project cash flow as well as the other topics in our upcoming classes. This is it for today. Thank you so much for joining in, and if you did understand anything out of this lecture, don't forget to give us a thumbs up.